VA rating for TBI, or traumatic brain injury. How is TBI rated by the VA? This is one of two videos I have on TBI ratings. TBI ratings are a bit complicated, so I wanted to do this in two short videos. First of all, if you're service-connected for traumatic brain injury, when you first suffered the injury, your condition may have been diagnosed as mild, moderate, or severe. In other words, depending on how long you were unconscious, depending on whether or not you had loss of memory of the incident afterwards, these things can determine if you are rated as a mild TBI, moderate TBI, or severe TBI. However, those descriptions of your incident, your traumatic brain injury incident, have nothing to do with your TBI rating. That's just how severe your injury was at the time. Some veterans can have a severe TBI and not have any residual symptoms. Other veterans can have what's considered a mild TBI, and they can have debilitating symptoms like migraines long term. They can have chronic migraines, which can be debilitating. So predicting the long-term problems associated with TBI, depending on the severity of the TBI, is not really possible. And remember, the VA is only going to be paying you based on your chronic long-term symptoms or residuals of the TBI event. The second thing that you need to understand is that if you have an associated condition that is caused by your TBI, you will be rated based on the schedule of ratings for that condition. So for instance, if you have a TBI and you develop PTSD from the incident, clearly you're going to be service connected for PTSD and you're going to be rated based on those criteria. And if that's the main component of your TBI, even though you're service connected for TBI, you may have a 0% service connection for TBI, but you may have a rating 10%, 30%, 70%, or 100% for your mental health condition, your PTSD. So the VA won't give you both because of pyramiding rules. If the symptoms of the conditions overlap, you cannot have both ratings. Another example of that is if you are service connected for TBI, but the main residual component or symptom that you have is chronic headaches, you'll be rated for the chronic headaches secondary to the TBI, and you'll get that schedule of ratings, which of course is 10, 30, and 50 for headaches. You won't get both a headache rating and a TBI rating. Now, some TBIs can cause chronic, an array of symptoms that are chronic, that don't fit into a specific condition category, and those will be explained in the next section, the next video I have. The other thing that I think is important to understand is that if you had an evaluation for TBI, it has to be, by VA rules, it has to be either a neurologist, neurosurgeon, or a psychiatrist that performs that neuropsych exam. The TBI DBQ is essentially a neuropsychological exam. If you were not evaluated by a neurologist, psychiatrist, or neurosurgeon when you had your TBI CNP exam, you may have received a letter in the mail stating that you're eligible for a new exam. And I recommend, if you receive that letter, that you do that, because you may not have received the appropriate rating because that person didn't have the experience to fully vet all of your symptoms that can be associated with TBI. So that's the basics of my first video. If you want to hear how TBI with mixed symptoms is rated, please watch my second video.
The information contained in this video is informational and not professional advice. Rely on it at your own risk and see a qualified medical or other professional to discuss